don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is.
We're back. We're back. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mentorship Monday with Michelle and Maren. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for waiting patiently for us to come back because we really enjoyed. Well, the first week was my eye, and we don't even need to go into that. I already explained I had an alien eye for a little while, so that's all healed up. And then it was Mother's Day last weekend, and Maren and I took a lovely break to be with our family and enjoy our day, which I think that we both really needed and deserved and appreciated. How was your Mother's Day?
Yeah. It was wonderful. I
Yeah.
got to have breakfast with my kids and my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and then we planted a garden
Mm-hmm.
and or planted our garden. We do that every Mother's Day. It's kind of like the date that we like put the
Yeah.
vegetables in the garden.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny because I just felt like I was such a mom because we all started, everybody's like into it, like first of all, everybody's super into like picking out which vegetables at the store they were going to plant. It was like supermarket sweeps. It's like, oh, we don't have enough room in our garden.
Yeah.
But then, they're kind of like into it in the beginning, like when we got home. And then midway through, it's like my older son's just standing there drinking my water, telling me what to do. And then my younger son got tired and started using me as a bench because I was like bent over, like working in the garden. So he literally just sat on me. And I'm like, that's what a mom is.
Yeah. Yeah. She is my
So,
consistent, unconditional support. That's
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is the metaphor to the mom.
Yes, I
I
know.
always got your back. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So we had fun. They finished the garden. Looks beautiful.
Oh, good.
So yeah, so it's good. We had a nice dinner and it was great.
Yeah.
What about yours?
Very relaxing day. My kids and my husband took care of everything that day. They cleaned the house, that is my there's a difference between tidying and cleaning,
Yeah.
right? And what I really wanted was some deep cleaning done. And so they really did a lot of things that I would have really liked to do myself, but didn't want to do. So they did that. They did a wonderful job. We had a nice meal together. We did flowers. My mom and I, every year we go out. My mom likes to get, like, it's our weekend too, where we start all of our flowers and our gardens and everything else. So my mom and I went out, and then we came back, and us as a family put our flowers all out and started that. I still have some more to finish though, because I
Yeah, I
usually
do too.
wait until after this holiday weekend because we get frost and stuff. So I'm careful on some of the things that I put out. So now we should start to get into the warmer weather. I could put the rest out. But it was a great day. It was fantastic. I was spoiled rotten. What else can I say? It was a lovely day. And it was a day off. So
Yeah,
to
I
boot,
know.
it was a day off.
And now you guys have another holiday. That's crazy. You guys have two holidays in a row.
Yeah, so this is our May 24th weekend. So we call it Victoria Day, Queen Victoria. It's actually
Wait, they
Queen
call
Vic.
it May 24th weekend.
Yeah. But
That's my birthday.
is it really?
Yeah,
Oh, happy
I'm
birthday.
gonna move to Canada.
Yeah. Well, it's called the May 2-4 weekend,
Okay, I'll
right?
take it.
Because the 2-4 is like the 24 pack of beer. And so
Okay.
when we were all younger, back in the younger, this is like what most teenagers and that would call it, is the May 2-4, because it was the kickoff to the summer. Everybody would go and buy their beer and everything and go camping. So this was
Okay.
like the thing to do. Us Canadians, we get our 2-4, we get our 2-4, and then we go up to the lake, we sit down and start a campfire and drink our beer with our toques on and our maple syrup. And we had our igloo and our seals out in the back. But yeah, so it's actually Victoria Day weekend. So it's Queen
Okay.
Victoria's birthday. So we have fireworks and everything on Monday. It's the long holiday weekend. But because of my eye and everything else, I've worked for this weekend, but we also have company here from the States and everything too. So it's a nice weekend. And then you guys have your holiday weekend next weekend, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So all good times. But okay, so now we've kind of got into what we're doing. Let me ask you, Maren, because you started to tell me something really interesting that happened, and I was really hoping that you would share this with everybody because I think that this is so interesting and this stuff happens. And so Maren has had a little bit of we'll say a visitor. And would you like to share with the class, Maren, what has happened? Whoops.
Yeah. Sorry, my AirPods just
That's
died.
okay. I just knocked something on the floor here. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Okay. Yesterday, we came home from being at the ballpark with the kids, and there was something on the table. And my husband was like, "Oh my gosh, who put this here?" And it's like, it wasn't the kids. We literally got like ball game started early. So we got up, we ate breakfast, got dressed, we left for the house, and then we had just gotten home. So no one had been home. We got this little thing. Okay. It is fishing line. I'm gonna zoom in. Fishing line and like a twig. And it's like perfectly placed. Here's another one right here. And then here's another one on the chair, but you can't see the fishing line because it blends in. But anyways, and so they were like perfectly placed, so delicate, so whatever. And my husband's like, "Who did that? Who did that?" I'm like, "I don't know." So our security cameras are motion activated.
Right.
So we search through our security cameras, and it's like they'll give you like little 10-second frames of like motion, and it's like one frame, it's not there. The next frame, it's there. And we're like, who put it there? What happened? And he goes, "Somebody did this yesterday too." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Looked at the security camera from the day before. It's not there. And then all of a sudden it's there. So then this morning I was like, "Oh, well, I took the dog out and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to see if we got like a little surprise on the table." Went outside, no surprise on the table. So I was like, okay. Came back in, was playing with the kids, cooking breakfast. My husband goes outside and he's like, "Did you put this on the table?" I was like, "No, I didn't put this on." Like, "What do you mean?" Like, and I was like, "I just looked out there. There's nothing there." And this was from this morning. So it's fishing line and like a little bit of like a dried sticky twiny twiggy thing. Yeah. So someone keeps putting fishing line and a twig, like it's very like purposeful, like fishing line twig on our table.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, "Who could it be? Who could it be?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Again, we look through our surveillance. It's like, it's me taking the dog out. And then the next frame, it's us looking out and there's the twine, like or the fishing line and the twine, like there's no in between. So I don't know what it is. So we looked up, so then we were like looking all around, what could it be? I saw draped over our fan above the table was like one line of fishing line. And so he's like, "Oh, that's it. Okay, phew, it's the robin. Like it's gotta be, there's like a robin that comes and sits on the fan sometimes."
Yeah.
I climbed up on the table. There's no nest up there. I mean, we use our fan, so hopefully there's no nest.
Yeah.
And then also like if it was a robin, I feel like it would come down in like more of like a mess or like scattered parts.
Not
So
placed so carefully.
yeah. And like one twig to one fishing line. And like 3 days in a row is odd as well. You know what I mean? Like, and we've not caught anything on camera or with our eyes. Like,
Yeah.
so this to me just like screams spirit because it's not, it's not caught on the motion activated cameras. It's just placed so perfectly. What do you think?
Well, I did start to feel a little bit of an angelic feeling. And when you first told me, something that I had heard was the development of a relationship. And then as you're showing me these pictures again, and I noticed that those little twigs, like how perfectly placed it is, those little twigs look like little fishing lines, and or like little poles, right?
I'll keep showing them.
Like, look at the little pole. Now, there's another one that you have too that looks like a little pole with like it almost looks like it's straight out with like the little line hanging.
That one.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Now, the vision that I just got in my head was a little fairy sitting on the edge of the water on a little pond holding this little tiny stick with a little
Yeah.
line hanging from it. And I think you got yourself a fairy or a group of fairies visiting.
I think so too,
Oh,
because let
yeah.
me tell you, I know it's just so like it's so pretty. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so the immediate,
it's far too purposeful, synchronistic. It's not a random thing. And Eric is here and he's just saying nothing is random. Like really nothing is random. And he, um even if this was, say, a bird, okay, so if a bird did carry a bunch of twine or something else has placed it there, like, regardless of where the material comes from or if a bird assisted. And because Eric just says, what do you think the fairies work with? They work with nature. They're going to work with the birds and everything.
well, I think about like Cinderella, where they like
Yeah,
the little bird
exactly.
like carry the
Exactly.
stuff, you know?
Exactly. And this is this is so interesting because here we are in the spring, going into the summer. This is when the fairies really make themselves known, especially when you've been working in your garden, when you've been outside, when you've
Yeah,
been preparing and planting, and you have a lot of fairy energy around your house.
I like that. I feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Do you have water behind your
I
house?
do.
Yeah.
So we have a pond behind our house, which is where I'm assuming they got this fishing line.
Yeah.
But even with that, like I've picked up, we have boys that will go fishing in the pond, and one time they left like a whole chunk of like fishing line, but it was like a lot of fishing line. You
Yeah.
know, this is
Like all
like
tangled up.
this
Yeah.
is so delicate and like cut up. It just is so
Yeah.
different. But yes, we do have water. We have
Yeah.
a pond.
Because there's a lot of fairy energy coming from that pond area. And they really enjoy your home. Um and I mean, this is a really good time to talk about a fairy world, about fae.
Well,
And
so I
you
think
know,
that's the other reason why they're coming out is because I was planting my garden and I was like, oh, I hope the fairies come and visit my garden. And the boys and I were talking about, because I heard that if you invite the fairies to your garden, they'll help your garden grow better.
yes.
And so I
Yes.
was talking to the boys about, oh, we should, help the
Yes.
fairies. And I heard they like honey, like we should set some honey out for them. And we never did, but we were talking about
Yeah.
inviting them. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, we should talk to Michelle about fairies so I can know more.
Yeah.
And then it's just really interesting that like 3 days leading up to our recording, I'm getting these little like offerings, you know. So
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
really feel, and then also I'm taking a shamanic journeying class, and it's like we went to the middle world, which is like the world of the fairies
Right.
and things like, and all the like nature creatures. So there's like I think a lot of that energy around me right now, which is why it's happening. And I love it. I just
Oh,
think
I
it's,
do too.
you
I
look
do
at it
too.
and you're like, not, that is not scary. I look at it as so peaceful and light and pleasant and like
Yes. Yes.
very playful, and yeah.
Yes. and that's the energy that I do feel with them. And they're very like a lot of the interdimensional beings, they move, because when we're talking about dimensions, the way it's been explained to me is that our dimensions all exist in the same space, like they're stacked, right? So everything exists at the same time, as we know. And when we're talking about the land of Fae, there are others, Sasquatch, like those type of energies. Um, they all exist as interdimensional beings. And that's why it's very challenging for a lot of people that have not been in that energy before. They're not exposed to that, or they may have a lot of trouble. Oh, did we freeze? We froze. Well, you're frozen. I don't know if I'm frozen.
You're frozen. Am I frozen? Oh, there you
Okay.
go. You're back.
No, you're okay. This has not happened for I don't know how long now, until you and I get together
Their
on here.
energies
Yeah,
combined. I
that's
know.
crazy. It's crazy. But no, I was just saying that for a lot of people that aren't really exposed to this, it's very hard to understand or hard to believe that a lot of the things that we see in fairy tales, in nursery rhymes, there is a root to all of that. There is a point to where that came into fruition. And when stories get handed down and told, they start to lose the truth. They start to lose these points. But from what I understand and what I feel and what spirit tells me, and Eric's just saying right now, their world is just as real as ours, and they can come between. So they can travel between worlds. And often trees, because trees hold a lot of information, a lot of wisdom, and trees are like gatekeepers. So a lot of them will come from the trees. So they'll move in their worlds within the trees. And that's part of why I feel they call it the underworld, the other world, the middle world, because it's stacked in all of these yeah, Earth 2, Earth 3. I've heard so many different versions of what's being spoken of, that the Fae are here. They're not always able to be seen. There are people that there's one girl that I know that's very connected to the fairies, and she clairvoyantly sees them, but she didn't always. She wanted to see them so bad. And she's a channel, she's a trance channel. She's been working with the spirit world for years. She's younger, like from a child, and she wanted to experience the fairies so much. And so she would talk to them, and um, she would communicate and leave little presents for them. And she went through this process for years, and eventually she did start to see them. And now she
Wow.
does see them. Now she only sees them once in a while. So it's not like she sees them kind of waltzing out in front of her and having conversations, but she sees them kind of pop out every now and again. Um, and anyway, I'm getting off on a little tangent with her because she's a very interesting individual. But I've never seen a fairy, not in my surroundings. I've seen evidence of them, and I've felt the energy before, and I've channeled the energy, and I've seen it in my third eye, but I've not actually had an experience like you've had with something very physical and tangible, because that is a very clear message, and there's something that they're saying to you with that. And I'm not quite sure what that is. And when I was asking Eric and I was getting that answer back about a relationship, I do feel that your relationship with the spirit world is expanding into a lot of these interdimensional beings. And that is what's happening. Now, I feel there's going to be a lot more that's going to pop out. But I mean, your whole family is involved in this, and that's purposeful. It was purposeful for everyone to see it, not just you, to be
Yeah.
involved in
Well,
this.
that's why I thought it was like presents for Josh, because he was the one that saw it.
Yes.
He actually saw it first every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because it's making him do this. And Josh has already had so many experiences, like he's been growing so much, but this one is kind of like, okay, this is really weird. So he's searching for that explanation, you know.
Hmm.
And what's interesting is Eric just said, um, do you see how many things happen that somebody could pass by that and not realize and not look? Or do you see how important it is to be noticing, to be
Hmm.
mindful, to look for these things? But the other key point is you noticed it and you recognized it and you felt it, which allowed it to energetically be much easier for them to keep playing. So you opened up the playing field and they played with you back and
So
forth.
what should I do back to them?
You leave an offering for them.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Wonder what I should leave.
Yeah. We'll leave a little bit of honey.
Do the
So
honey.
leave,
Okay.
you can make teeny tiny little sandwiches. Leave a little
Oh,
sandwich out there.
okay.
Um, they love little jewels. If you have any kind of little beads or anything else like that, you can leave those. Fairies really enjoy um, pretty,
Yeah.
sparkly, pretty,
Okay.
peaceful. In the garden, like in my garden, I've got little fairy houses.
Oh, you
So
do?
the little
Okay.
mushroom with the little house and the little door that opens, but it's welcoming them. So it's your energy, what you're connecting to it. So Eric is just saying, if you were trying to, let's say, catch a fairy or provide for the fairies know what you're doing. So if you put something out and you were trying to catch one, the energy would be very different. They would not be drawn to that. If you were putting something out to provide, to play, they feel that energy. They're very energetic. Now, there's some that like there's different types of fairies, Eric says. Um
My
some
kids
that
were like, sorry, my kids were, I was like, well, we should get honey for the fairies. And they were like, do the tooth fairies drink honey? Isn't that sugar? Wouldn't they not like that? And I was like, oh, the tooth fairies.
tooth fairy tooth fairy brushes her teeth and she's got lots of backup. She can make an implant really easily if she needs to. That's so funny. That's really cute. Are you trying to tell me the tooth fairy is not real?
I know. I was like, how
Like,
do
wait
I?
a minute here.
I know. I'm like, well, there's two different kinds of fairies.
Oh my
The
gosh.
garden fairies and the tooth fairies.
Eric just said, okay, when I just said that making a joke, Eric goes, of course the tooth fairy's real. He goes, channel the consciousness of it, just
Oh.
like Santa Claus.
Well, I will
Channel.
tell you that's so funny because my son wanted when he lost his first tooth, he had
Uh-huh.
like a whole bunch of like questions for the tooth fairy. And so I like answered them in this story. And I read it to my mom and she was like, did you come up with that? And I was like, yeah. But I'm like, now I'm wondering, did I like channel the consciousness of the tooth fairy? Because it was
Yes.
really impressive.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
That would be why he's mentioning that. But Eric says, because it's energy. It's energy. There's a consciousness, there's energy. And there is we should probably go into that sometime. Maybe we can bring forward the tooth fairy and have a little interview with the tooth fairy.
oh,
Um, but like, do you have questions or something? Like, should we ask some
oh,
questions? Like, I'm
yeah.
not by any means an expert on the Fae realm. I feel it, and I know
I
that
cut you off.
I'm oh, I my mind, like I'm not even, we all know how I am. We can just continue on. That's okay.
No, you had no, I cut you off. You were answering a really good question, and then
Was
I cut
I?
you off talking about
I don't,
honey. Yeah, so I want to go back to whatever that was, but I already
okay.
forget.
I
Was
can't
that like
remember what I was
food? I
saying.
think you were like, did the little sandwiches
Oh
and
yeah.
then
Yeah. Jules, little sandwiches. Let me see what else Eric has to say. Oh, Eric said they also like feathers and He's like showing me little pillows, like little pillows and feathers and comfort. Um, but offerings also as in flowers. Um, like putting out a little potted plant, like anything like that. Um, anything that is beautiful and part of nature, inviting, but they will protect your garden. They will protect it. They will love it. They will nurture it. They're connected to the consciousness of the plants as well. So they have a lot of healing with the plants. Um, Eric says that that's what we were saying earlier. There's different types of them as well. So some of them can be a little bit maybe not as friendly. Like there are some that aren't extremely friendly. The ones that are playing with you, and I say ones because I'm getting that there is more than one that has been present. There's one that's connected to Quinn. Um, that's a guide for Quinn. Um, there's also one that's showing me like red hair, like straight red hair, and you know what you're saying earlier about big ears? It's got real big ears and straight red
Oh,
hair, like down to like here, like this, like almost like little bits of straw or yarn. Like it's kind of weird looking. And I'm not quite sure what this one is because I've never seen one like this. This is not like what I would call a typical fairy. Um, it's not an animal. Um, is Quinn into dragons?
um, no. Well, no, I don't think so.
Is your other son into dragons?
Mm-mm.
Hmm. Because they're showing me a dragon with this one. So I'm not sure where we're going with this here, but there's a little being with red hair and big ears that's connected to Quinn, and they're showing a dragon behind him, like as kind of like a shiny, looks like a brown, iridescent looking back to it. And they're connecting, like pointing to Q,
Okay.
to Q. Um, Quinn and Josh.
Okay.
Josh has a fairy. Josh has a fairy. This is really funny because Josh has a little fairy that's a female energy. And I almost want to say that it feels really neither male or female, but I do get more of a feminine energy with it. But I think this is going to be um a little bit of a game that's going to play out for a little while. And part of what I'm hearing is also to help Josh expand his belief system, to help him because there's like a key being turned for Josh right now, and it's to help him question. Um, because where they're showing me his energy is you can cut this out if you want to right here, but I'll do a big
Right.
I'll do a big cross. But this is really to help Josh see past his belief system right now. And I don't know how to put it together because there's a lot of things when I get it like this, a lot of times it's a path that needs to be walked, that the answers come or the lessons come through the experiences, but this is a very light experience. This is a very playful energy. And it's also to help Josh really release stress. It's to help put him into a different space and to have him start to question things that are a stretch for him, that are uh it's a difference between the understanding that there's something there and a knowing that there's something there, because there's an experience to this that's playing out. So this could play out like you might not see anything for 2 months, and then all of a sudden something else shows up. But there's definitely, and yes, when there's a relationship, there is a relationship that is being created, consciously being created right now, that's already been there. So I'm not quite sure what you're going to have roll out from this, but I think we're in a
Right.
whole new realm of adventure here.
I am excited. I am very excited to kind of explore the fairy energy because it
Yeah.
is so light and playful. And, I do feel more light and playful, and so are my kids. So I think we'll have a lot of fun with it. And Josh is not light and playful. So I like that it will help bring him kind of into more of that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feeling. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And the dragon, I know that they are really protective. So I feel like that's maybe like, and you said that the fairy was like a guide. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it is like a protective guide
Mm-hmm.
for Quinn, which is really cool.
Yeah, and well, you have a dragon as well. Um, there's a blue, almost like an aquamarine shade that they're showing me. Um, it's so interesting because they're saying that this is your courage. Um, before the lion came the dragon, as they're saying.
Oh, I believe that. I have
Yeah.
a friend that is like really into dragon energy. So
Mm-hmm.
I try to like use dragon energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely believe that.
And that's the thing too. Eric is just saying that, you know, all of these things, there's a lot of us that may say, well, I don't see these things, or this stuff doesn't happen to me, or I don't have experiences like that. Eric says we can all tap into the energy of it. So rather than worrying about, am I communicating with these? Am I like, do I have all the information? Are they one of my guides? How do I get them to show me signs? Well, all those things come in time the more you focus on them. But Eric says you can consciously connect to the energy of the dragons because you have a dragon. If you're sitting here thinking and wondering, do I have a dragon? You have a dragon. And
Mhm.
that's just bottom line. So connect to the energy of your dragon, connect to the energy of your fairies. If you're out working in your garden, talk to them. Talk to them when you're out there. The other thing too is Eric says the birds will come as messengers for the fairies a lot of times too. So when he kept showing me the bird, like the bird's still part of it, the bird's still part of it. It's because the birds communicate, and the birds will often, yes, pigeons. He's like showing me the pigeon, like the messenger being the pigeon. Um, but he says use that energy for playfulness. Ask the fairies, can you help me tap into the energy of play? He says ask them to work with you and work with what you feel, work with that energy, and then you will start to see things in your life. And I feel like that's for somebody specific watching this too, that there's somebody specific like saying, well, I would like to experience this. And Eric is just telling you that, all of that will organically unfold, but use that energy to help you. If you're going into a meeting, you're going to talk to somebody, ask your dragon to come in with you. ask your dragon to help set up the energy for you. There's so many things that we can do if we ask. We ask for the help or ask to have assistance in feeling that energy. And the more we do it, the more we will feel. But anyway, that's another story.
Are there fairies that have blue skin?
Yes.
As I saw the other day, like, I close my eyes and I see flashes, and I saw this person that had blue skin but blonde hair. And I was like, wonder if that's a fairy.
Eric says there's fairies with many different colors. There's purple, there's yellow. He says the skin tones that we see here on Earth are just like of skin tones of
Very cool.
what we would see in other beings. Now there are also Palladian beings and Arcturian beings that I've seen that have come forth with blue and blonde
Oh,
that I've
really?
seen
Okay.
before. And you're getting a lot of cosmic energy.
Well, I wondered if it was an alien, but then I was like, why would an alien have blue skin and blonde hair?
Yeah, the one that you're talking, like what you saw, it is a cosmic being,
Okay.
galactic being. That's what Eric says. But there are fairies that do have blue toned skin.
Okay.
And that also have he says a lot of them have a like kind of a pale green, like it's almost like a skin tone with a little bit of a green hue to it.
Okay. Like from all the like chlorophyll. Do they eat plants, or what do they eat?
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, he says that it does have to do with the plants. Like when he was saying the connection with the plants, what do they eat? Sweet, sweet, anything sweet. He's actually showing me hummingbirds
Okay.
and like what hummingbirds would eat, and he's showing me like the honeysuckle, like the water. So I'm seeing a visual of flowers, like flower petals with drips coming off of it, like roses, like rose water.
That is so weird. Can I tell you, I had a dream the other night, and right, it's like you just remember what you were seeing like right before you woke up, and it was like very vivid imagery, like like more than 3D, like the clearest picture you could ever think of like it was like a dewy flower and then a hummingbird, and then there was like one more thing and I can't remember, and it was like those three things like flashing over and over again. So I wonder if I was connecting to the fairies.
He says yes, because you're getting messages. So he says coincide a lot of the signs that you're getting within you and watch what's happening in your reality. Like it's interchanging. He says that they're showing you like they're who they are.
Yeah.
They're showing you like examples of who they are, what they do. He says that's why leaving out some flowers for them or leaving out something sweet for them like honey, why they like that. They're very attracted. Now I'll also tell you that there are, because he's showing me this too, there are also bee people, like bees, like little people, just like the fairies. Now these are more of a galactic energy as well, but I've channeled some of the bee people before, and they've come in, and he's saying that the fairies that are showing you what you've seen in your dream, that are leaving these signs, are connected to the bee people somehow related.
It's really weird. As soon as you said bee people, I was like, I think that was the third image that I saw.
And then always blows my mind because, like, guys, we don't talk, like, some things we talk in little tiny bits before. We didn't talk about any of this, so just so you know, there's
blown away.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I am like, you have no idea. Like, all I want to do is just go outside and like set out little things.
Well, you know what I have in my mind, because it's so weird because I am very attracted to miniatures, like miniature everything. And I just don't have the time to do it. But if I had an unlimited amount of time to play around, I would love to decorate this tiny, like a tiny little house, like a tiny little house with little chairs and little cereal and little bowls. And
Oh,
I don't know why I've always loved miniature stuff, but Eric was just showing me that and like that connection to tiny little miniature things. He says because the fairies are actually quite small. They're very small and that it's like I want to just go to your table and put little chairs out and like little like set them all up for a little meal.
I know. We go garage sale and look for some Barbie stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The neighbors are looking out like, what's Maren doing? Like, what the heck is going on over there?
I know. Oh
It's
my
calling the
gosh,
fairies.
this is so cool. I just love it.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty energy. It really is. It's
It
very
is.
delicate and fine,
And that's what
yeah,
like that's
fresh.
the first thing that when I saw the stuff set on the tables, that's what it was like. This like
Yeah,
delicate, pretty,
yeah,
light,
yeah,
like but like sweet. Like you know what I mean? Like it was
yeah.
very, which is
There's
what I get
this
for birds
smell
too.
too. Yeah, there's
Yes.
a smell. There's a smell. Um, the scent of like in the morning when you got that fresh grass with a little bit of dew on it. There's like a certain smell to that.
Mhm.
That's what I can smell. Like just that real like seeing those little drops on top of the little beads on the grass blades. Like that's mm. um Eric says to communicate with them.
Okay.
So
I know.
meditate and communicate with them because they're there. That's what they want to do. Is they
Okay.
want to communicate with you. So, you know, I have a feeling by what he's saying and just what I feel from this that you have a fairy as a guide.
Okay.
So there's likely and Eric says you have a relationship to Fae, to the fairy world.
Okay.
Like you have a connection to them. So you should find it easy to communicate.
Okay. Very cool.
That's really cool. No, I feel a little stunned by it, right? Because it's
Right?
like it just feel
You see my little,
what is that?
I don't know. It's like a little bee, but it looks just like a fairy.
Are you freaking kidding me? You just had like what is happening? Like I feel like I'm in La La Land right now because the energy is so like I can't even keep my train of thought.
I know.
And I
Wow.
just see something like flying in front of you. I'm like, what is going on? It's the attack of the fairies. That
I think
looked
it
like a little
was. That
fairy.
was definitely, I've never had that happen. And like, I thought, I literally thought, but when you started this, I was like, okay, if this is real, and not that I put a condition on it,
Yeah,
but I thought, if this
yeah.
is real, how cool would it be if something came in here because I have my window open and like, and then left, and of course, right at the end, it did,
And
and
what
it
were
was
we talking about was the bee
like a little
people.
sweat bee, huh?
We were talking about the bee
Bee
people.
people, I know, and they're
And
connected to the fairies.
that's right. And
It actually, I will say this too, it actually found its way out the window. That never happens. It's like they come in and then they get confused and they never make
right.
their way. That one flew
It,
in, went right here, right in front of the screen, and then out the window.
that's crazy. How cool
Yeah.
was that that they made a little hello on the camera? That's awesome. That's great. That is great. It just reminded me, I remember this one time I did a lot of orb videos. Like I went through a period of time I was doing them like every morning, early in the morning I was connecting. And I had this experience. I may have talked about this before, but my mom and I used to go to this gym and work out. And it was like in an old Optimist Club. It's where it got moved. So it was like the Optimist Club, the big hall, like the old club, and then we were in this new part. Well, to use the washroom in this gym, and it was an all ladies, like just a small little workout center. You'd have to open the door to this big dark like hall, which is like it used to be where a lot of men would go. It was like a men's hall and there was like a bar and all that stuff there. So it was all in darkness and you'd have to walk behind the stage and go all the way across this hall in the dark to get to the bathrooms on the other side. And it was kind of a creepy little area, right? Well,
I
one
think you told
day,
me.
yeah, I probably did. One day I decided I'm going to turn my camera on because could feel so much in there. And I was kind of freaked out walking through. I'm going to see what's here because I can feel you, but I can't see you. So I started to pan my phone around. Well, my mother wonders what I'm doing because I was a while. So she opens the door and comes in. The two of us stood there in the middle of this hall in the pitch black and panned around, and there were beings, eyes, faces, but there was a fairy that flew. My mom and I both saw it. And I mean, there's no bugs in here, okay?
Right.
It was white, it had wings, and it's
Wow.
spiraled. It was spiraling.
Wow.
Like it wasn't like doing this, it was doing this. And it was just absolutely insane. And then we had another experience with the orbs here where the uh I'm trying to think it was somebody else that's a healer. And this is like very early on. And she came here and spent a couple nights. And we had a lot of very physical experiences together. And we were sitting beside each other on the couch, and a blue spark, like with our physical eyes, a big blue spark just like went off between our knees.
Oh
Like
my
our knees were
God.
touching, and we both were like, did you see that? I saw that. Did you see that? Like it was unbelievable. And then right afterwards, we saw, and we both knew it was a fairy. We saw it move from the corner of my living room, come right up in front of us and move all the way over. And it was white. And we saw this with our
Wow.
physical eyes. And so
Wow.
but we not didn't see any face or anything. It was just like the shape, like wings. And it kind of looked like an angel, like a feather.
Yeah.
But it was the way that it moved, and we both felt that that was fairy. But those are like experiences that I will never forget. Like just seeing it like that, that was one of the first times I saw something so vivid and so clear. But I can't remember where I was going with that.
Just very sightings. Very
Just
exciting.
fairy sightings. Oh my gosh, that's what this should be called. Is fairy sightings.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the name of this
Make
one, is
my
fairy
job easy for
sightings.
me this week.
Oh, but I'm telling you, there is something going on around you, Maren.
Oh my
There is
gosh.
something going on.
I'm excited. I like fairy
It's very
energy.
exciting. It's very exciting. And it's spring. It's the perfect time of year
Yes.
for it. So guys, like get out your cameras, do some orb hunting in your garden in the evening. I've got fairy lights strung in all my little, like I've got little lilac trees and everything, and I put little fairy lights all through it. It's so pretty at nighttime. But I mean, there's all kinds of beautiful things that will come out if you stand outside and catch the orbs. And you can tell the difference between bugs and an orb. Once
Yeah.
you've experienced the orbs and the fairies, if you invite them to come out, some of them might be a little bit shy, but they will because they
Okay.
really are connected to how you feel.
Okay.
So they're very connected into the emotions. And when you're there just to experience them, just to be in their energy, it's a very welcoming, very beautiful energy. And they will play with you. They will definitely play with you. But that gets me excited. I'm going to go out and start doing some more things outside because I've completely just kind of forgotten about the fairy world. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I just get into other
Mhm.
things and I forget. And that just reminds me today to no, let's get out there I should take my son out and go fairy hunting today.
Well, I think it goes to show too, like if you're thinking of it, then
Yeah.
their energy is around you, because I've
Yes.
never once thought, oh, I want to have a fairy garden, or I should offer offerings to the fairies.
Yeah.
It literally this season was like, oh, I want to invite the fairies. And then here they are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
if
think
you're
that's
thinking about it,
amazing.
you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like, um, just like what we were saying about the dragon. Like, if you're thinking about it, if you're wondering it is. It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much,
Well,
Michelle.
thank you. This is really fun. Thanks for sharing your
Yes,
fairy
absolutely.
sightings with us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And guys, in the comments, if you've had an experience, had a fairy experience,
Yeah.
if you've had a sighting, if you have a
You
story,
have tips.
share it. Or tips, yes. Anything to share with,
Yeah.
that you information that you have, please
Yeah.
share it. Yeah. All right,
Wonderful.
Maren. Well, happy Sunday to you. Happy Monday, everybody. Monday evening. I hope everybody's had a great start to their week, and we wish you the very best of the rest of your week. And happy holidays to all of our Canadian friends, and happy holidays for next weekend to all of our American friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Maren. I guess that's it for today.
Hey,
All right.
see ya. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody. We love you.